Hi everyone, and welcome back to trying to keep up with all the AI articles of interest. And in this particular case, we have an open access article by Banihashem et al. That's talking about pedagogical frameworks for hybrid intelligent feedback. And I am going to completely admit this out of the gate. I am very weak on pedagogy and did not come into the education field in a normal educator's path. Yeah, I was hoping to be an archivist, and then I ended up doing this because this is where the money was. So a lot of my commentary is probably going to be based on pure ignorance, but I'm curious what they have to say. Anyway, generative AIs gained attention as a new feedback source because it can generate human-like text. However, the use in feedback lacks strong pedagogical framework, which is necessary for effective implementation. This paper addresses the gap. It outlines human-centered feedback challenges and then explores human and artificial cognition differences, highlighting the need for hybrid intelligence. Next, it positions Gen AI feedback within feedback theory and proposes a definition for Gen AI feedback. The paper conceptualizes the role of Gen AI feedback as either an independent source or as part of a collaborative process with humans referred to as hybrid intelligent feedback. Building on this conceptualization, it discusses the approaches and principles of hybrid intelligent feedback and then proposes a pedagogical framework that outlines the implementation steps for hybrid intelligent feedback. Paper concludes by describing pedagogical framework and outlining recommendations for future research on hybrid intelligent feedback. So those of you who are actual educators and understand feedback theory and or pedagogy at all, feel free to comment. Because like I said, this is definitely one of my weak points. When we start saying the P word, I'm just like, Rubiks. Anyway, generative artificial intelligence technologies powered by large language models are revolutionizing fields like education. Tools such as ChatGPT and Gemini demonstrate exceptional accuracy in reasoning, surpassing human intelligence in various areas without task-specific development. This marks the rise in artificial cognition, reshaping learning experiences. In education, Gen AI is driving a transformative shift, redefining how students learn, teachers teach, and institutions function, making its integration an inevitable step forward. Yeah, I would argue about inevitable, but hey. Gen AI tools are rapidly being adopted in higher education due to their accessibility. Teachers use tools like ChatGPT to create lesson plans, quizzes, and summarize student responses, while students rely on them for research, article summaries, essay drafting, and personalized tutoring. There have also been attempts to unite students and teachers in AI to work in partnership for educational content creation. Rapid expansion of Gen AI in education highlights the urgent need for its alignment with sound pedagogical principles. Without this grounding, risks include technological determinism, the belief that technology alone can shape or dictate educational outcomes, use of opaque black box predictive models for decision making, and neglecting the crucial role of how teachers and students use these tools. This could undermine student outcomes by sidelining creativity, empathy, and contextual understanding. To unlock Gen AI's full potential, it must be thoughtfully integrated into pedagogical practices, ensuring it complements rather than replaces human-centered education. This approach aligns with the growing emphasis on human-AI collaboration and hybrid intelligence, which combines human and artificial cognition to achieve outcomes beyond the capability of either alone. So, one promising area for human AI collaboration education is the use of general AI for feedback, known as Gen AI feedback. A global debate is emerging about its credibility as a valid feedback source. Current literature highlights the rapid expansion of Gen AI feedback across diverse learning tasks. However, this adoption often lacks robust pedagogical frameworks to guide its responsible and effective use in education. Developing such frameworks can ensure thoughtful integration, foster trust among teachers and students, and encourage meaningful engagement with Gen AI feedback. This gap highlights the need to conceptualize Gen AI feedback by grounding it in established feedback theories and theorizing hybrid human AI collaboration for intelligent feedback. To do this, the paper begins by examining traditional human-centered feedback, its definitions, phases, features, and historical challenges to provide a foundation for understanding Gen AI feedback. It then explores the distinctions between human and artificial cognition, illustrating their complementary roles in feedback processes and emphasizing the value of hybrid intelligence where human and AI collaboration achieves outcomes neither could accomplish alone. Building on this, we define Gen AI feedback, propose a theoretical framework, outline its potential roles, and advocate for hybrid intelligence integration. We also address opportunities and challenges of Gen AI feedback in a hybrid intelligence context, and finally we offer a roadmap for advancing research to ensure the responsible and effective integration of hybrid human AI intelligence feedback in education. So what is human-centered feedback? Feedback in education has traditionally been human-centered, with humans as the sole source of intelligence, and is widely recognized as a key strategy for improving learning processes and outcomes. Research highlights its significant impact on learning, motivation, academic performance, engagement, collaboration, and self-regulation. Feedback has been defined in multiple ways. Ramaprazad describes it as information addressing the gap between current and desired performance. Boot and Malloy view it as a reflective process that enables learners to assess and improve their work. DJ Nickel and McFarland Dick advocate for feedback as a dialogue that fosters self-regulated learning, while Black and Willem emphasize its role in formative assessment and linking feedback directly to actionable goals. Sadler highlights its purpose in reducing the gap between current understanding and desired objectives. Among these definitions, Hattie and Timberley's widely accepted definition unifies these perspectives, describing feedback as information provided by an agent to improve a subject's skills or knowledge in a specific task, aligning performance with intended outcomes. Now it's interesting we've switched this to agent, we've already removed personhood, which I think might have happened when we declare corporations people, but that's a personal sidetrack there. Traditionally, the human agents for feedback have been teachers, peers, and the learners themselves, leading to three main feedback sources: teacher feedback, peer feedback, and learners' feedback on their own performance, called internal feedback or self-feedback. Feedback normally reflects on three aspects of the performance. What is the current state of the task, where the learner is now? What is the desired state of the task, where the learner is going? And how to get there. This also aligns with Hattie and Timberley's feedback model, where feedback addresses the question, where is the learner now? Feed up focuses on where is the learner going? And feed forward emphasizes how to get there. Effective feedback incorporates several essential elements, often categorized as affective, cognitive, and constructive. Affective features involve praise, positive reinforcement, and compliments that motivate learners and encourage them to engage with the feedback constructively. Cognitive features focus on providing a clear description of the task and pinpointing specific issues or areas that require improvement. Constructive features emphasize actionable suggestions for improvement, accompanied by detailed plans for implementing these changes. I don't know if I'd like constructive feedback. I'd be like, wow, you have a plan for me? Oh no. Timeliness and personalization are also crucial for feedback to be effective. Feedback given in real time allows learners to address issues while task is still fresh, and personalized feedback tailored to their needs enhances its relevance and impact. Quality, timing, and personalization of feedback significantly influence whether learners accept and act on it. So we have our sources, and then they all went into this, where the learner is now, how to get there, where they're going, quality, these three things we just mentioned, timely, and personalized. Woot, woot, woot. Alright. Patchan et al. Oh, I'm sorry. We're in the end of a citation here. Without these characteristics, feedback is less likely to be embraced or effectively applied. Each human feedback source encounters unique challenges in delivering effective feedback. Teachers, despite being well-trained to provide high-quality feedback, often face difficulties in offering timely and personalized responses due to increasing workloads and growing class sizes in higher education. Peer feedback, while offering timeliness and personalization, is often limited by a peer's lack of domain-specific expertise, making it harder to address nuanced task-related issues. As a result, peer feedback tends to focus on surface-level aspects like language or communication quality, neglecting deeper content issues. Additionally, students may distrust their peers' competence, leading to skepticism about the feedback and reluctance to fully engage or act upon it. Yeah, right, you think I'm doing a good job. Self-feedback, where learners assess their own performance against reference standards, presents further challenges. Effective self-feedback demands strong self-regulation and high cognitive and metacognitive awareness, which I think we all have, right? However, students with weaker performance levels often struggle with accurate self-assessment, a phenomenon linked to the Dunning-Kruger effect. I have no idea what that is. Feel free to comment. Without these critical skills, students may find it difficult to evaluate their progress accurately or make meaningful adjustments to their learning strategies. While teacher, peer, and self-feedback continue to face challenges, advanced technologies like Gen AI are increasingly playing a pivotal role in improving feedback systems by supporting and facilitating high-quality, timely, and personalized responses. The next section examines human and artificial cognition, highlighting the concept of hybrid intelligence. We then define Gen AI feedback, its theoretical basis, and its roles, with an emphasis on hybrid intelligent feedback. This is followed by a discussion of hybrid intelligent feedback approaches and principles, leading to the proposal of a pedagogical framework. Paper concludes by proposing a research agenda and a conclusion. Like most papers. Human cognition versus artificial cognition call for hybrid intelligence. John McCarthy, a pioneer in AI, defined it as the science and engineering of making intelligent machines, especially intelligent computer programs. Here, intelligent refers to a machine's ability to perform cognitive functions like learning, reasoning, and problem solving. From this perspective, AI is considered a system capable of performing cognitive activities similar to human cognition, such as sense-making and decision-making, but operates within distinct and separate cognitive systems from humans, often achieving strong performance in ways that are very different from how humans think. Generative AI, a subset of AI, focuses on generating new original content by learning patterns from existing data. Using deep learning techniques, systems like GPT models can produce text, images, music, and other media in a way that approximates human creativity and comprehension. Note approximates. Does not replicate, approximates. While both human and artificial cognition involve cognitive processing, they represent fundamentally different systems shaped by their unique biological and digital architecture. Human cognition emerges from the parallel activity of neurons and synapses, characterized by emotional awareness, consciousness, intuition, and self-reflection. In contrast, artificial cognition relies on sequential symbol manipulation through algorithms and data processing, inspired by biological systems, but lacking emotion, consciousness, or subjective experience. Yeah, it's all linguistics at this point. Recognizing the strengths and limitations of each system is essential for fostering hybrid intelligence in an AI-driven world. Human cognition is deeply influenced by lived experiences, culture, and social interactions. Humans can think abstractly, adapt knowledge across contexts, and use creativity and moral reasoning. Learning is experiential and cumulative, relying on sensory input, trial and error, and social interactions. Jean Piaget's work on cognitive development emphasized human learning's adaptive nature, where individuals adjust their understanding through new experiences, making cognition a highly generalizable and enriched by common sense and contextual awareness. Whereas artificial cognition relies on algorithms, machine learning, and data analysis, with systems like deep learning models enabling efficient pattern recognition and data processing. However, these systems are often task-specific and struggle to generalize beyond their training. While AI can surpass humans in processing speed and accuracy in things like image classification and natural language processing, it lacks adaptability to novel, unforeseen circumstances. Like the things I was asking it yesterday about, can you find me this out-of-production part for my Jeep? And alas, no, because, we only make things on demand in our crazy lean economy and don't have stuff on the shelves for ancient Jeeps that need to be repaired. Anyway, I'm sorry. This limitation is evident in AI's struggle to understand context, a challenge exemplified by John McCarthy's efforts to develop AI with common sense, which remains unresolved. Good luck teaching it to humans, good luck teaching it to the AI. Someone with autistic tendencies who has to break stuff down into crazy amounts of rules, I'm sure it'll work great for the computer. A key distinction between human and artificial cognition lies in their approaches to learning and problem solving. Humans engage in explicit reasoning, employing logic and mental simulations within working memory to solve complex problems. In contrast, AI systems like GPT-3 are designed to predict outputs such as the next word in a sequence without engaging in deep reasoning or causal understanding. AI's reliance on statistical correlations rather than active exploration and hypothesis testing limits its ability to perform causal reasoning, a hallmark of human cognition. Adaptability is another crucial difference. Humans can transfer knowledge across contexts and draw on prior experiences to tackle novel challenges. AI systems, however, remain restricted to the specific domains that they were trained in, lacking the flexibility to generalize effectively. This rigidity highlights AI's lack of true understanding and its limitations as an intelligent system. In summary, human cognition and artificial cognition are shaped by fundamentally different processes. Recognizing these differences is essential for effectively integrating AI into educational settings where hybrid intelligence can enhance feedback by combining complementary strengths of human and artificial cognition. Therefore, by employing hybrid intelligence, educational settings can benefit from a balanced application of human judgment and AI efficiency. I'll take a little pause so I can have a drink. Alright, generative AI feedback. Definition, underlying theory and roles. Building on Hattie and Timberlee's feedback definition, we define generative AI feedback as information generated by a Gen AI agent about certain aspects of a learner's understanding or performance. While the goal remains to improve the learner's understanding or performance, the source shifts from human to Gen AI, grounded in Black and Williams' formative assessment theory, where the Gen AI feedback addresses three essential questions of effective feedback. Where is the learner going? Where are they now? How can they get there? Traditionally, these questions are addressed by teachers, peers, and learners, each with specific roles. In a hybrid intelligence system, we propose that Gen AI can enhance feedback provision by taking on two key main roles as an independent feedback source and in collaborations with humans, so-called hybrid intelligent feedback. So now we have our lovely feedback sources, so the Gen AI weighing things. And then we have the Gen AI assisting everybody else's feedback. I don't know if I like the computer that's fully involved. But anyway, it's an idea. Gen AI is an independent feedback source, so generative AI can act as an independent feedback source, complementing traditional feedback providers, teachers, peers, and learners by guiding learners through the 3 formative assessment stages. Where are they going? Where are they now? How can they get there? In this role, generative AI delivers feedback directly based on task-specific prompts or questions. For example, in essay writing, students might use a generative AI tool like ChatGPT to review their work, receive evaluations on content, grammar, coherence, and structure, and obtain actionable recommendations for improvement. In this scenario, generative AI provides feedback independently without human feedback input. Research by Escalante et al. Shows comparable learning outcomes for students receiving Gen AI or human feedback with no significant preference difference, supporting its integration in tasks like essay writing. However, this role does not imply replacing teacher, peer, or self-feedback. Instead, generative AI feedback often complements these sources, enriching the feedback process. Studies by Banihashem et al. And Escalante et al. Highlight the complementary nature of generative AI feedback, showing how Gen AI feedback can supplement human feedback. A growing body of research supports adding Gen AI feedback alongside human feedback. Banihashem et al. Found ChatGPT feedback in essays is more descriptive and style-focused, interesting, while peer feedback addressed specific content issues, suggesting a complementary approach. Stice et al. Reported modest quality differences between generative AI and human feedback, but highlighted time-saving benefits of generative AI, proposing ChatGPT as an effective and efficient evaluative tool. Yes, we'd much rather do things at scale than personalize them and make them custom anymore. Right, that makes sense. In Figure 3, we present a conceptual framework that illustrates a spectrum of approaches to hybrid intelligent feedback, ranging from fully human-generated feedback to fully generative AI-generated feedback. This framework outlines how humans and Gen AI can collaborate in various contexts, optimize feedback processes in educational and professional contexts. This spectrum highlights how feedback generation can evolve with increasing integration and reliance on Gen AI while still retaining human involvement as needed for enrichment and oversight. Yeah, let's scale bad ideas. I'm sorry. Fully human-generated, human feedback. Human feedback, Gen AI provides supportive information to enrich the feedback. Adaptive human Gen AI, so they collaborate simultaneously, and they switch depending on content complexity. And then we have Gen AI lead feedback with human enrichment, so the human is required to enrich it. And then we have the fully Gen AI feedback. Woo-woo. The spectrum begins with fully human-generated feedback, where feedback is created solely by human agents, teachers, peers, or learners, without any involvement from the general AI. At the other end lies fully Gen AI-generated feedback, in which feedback is entirely generated by the Gen AI without any human input. Between these two extremes, 3 intermediate approaches represent the core of hybrid intelligent feedback, blending human and Gen AI contributions to various degrees. So we have the human-led feedback with Gen AI support. In this approach, humans take the lead in providing feedback, while Gen AI plays a supplementary role by offering additional insights to enhance quality of feedback. For example, a teacher might focus on evaluating content and argumentation, a student's essay, while Gen AI identifies grammar errors, improves sentence structures, or suggests stylistic adjustments. This setup ensures that human expertise remains at the forefront, with Gen AI acting as an assistive tool to refine or augment the feedback process. A study from Guo et al. Is an example of using AI as a support to human-generated peer feedback. The study integrated an AI chatbot, Eva, into an online peer review system to support students in generating feedback. The chatbot provides 2 types of assistance, prompting and feedback. The prompting feature offers tips to help students craft high-quality comments. The results showed that students who used Eva provided high-quality feedback and demonstrated greater improvements in writing ability compared to those who did not. And this is some space where I feel like a white space would have come in handy, because this looks like a huge block of text. Adaptive human Gen AI feedback. This approach represents a dynamic partnership between humans and Gen AI, where both contribute based on the complexity and nature of the task. Feedback generation becomes a flexible, collaborative process, with roles switching seamlessly between human and Gen AI depending on the demands of the content. For instance, when evaluating a highly technical piece, Gen AI might provide detailed, data-driven feedback and factual accuracy, while humans focus on subjective elements such as tone and intent. This adaptability ensures a more comprehensive and context-sensitive feedback mechanism. Current research has not yet largely focused on adaptive human Gen AI feedback. By Norden explored a human-AI collaborative feedback approach in which students could receive both AI and teacher feedback to enhance English foreign language students' writing performance, where AI could focus on a more narrow range of issues. Although they did not specify the exact nature of how the feedback varied by source, the findings indicate human AI feedback significantly improves writing by providing timely and detailed insights, leading to enhanced language accuracy, complexity, and fluency. So Gen AI led feedback with human enrichment. And in this approach, Gen AI takes the lead in generating the initial feedback, while humans step in to review, refine, and contextualize as needed. This approach leverages efficiency and speed of Gen AI while ensuring that human judgment adds a layer of nuance and contextual relevance. For example, Gen AI might provide detailed feedback on a coding assignment, identifying errors and suggesting optimizations, while the teacher ensures the suggestions align with the learning goals and the student's proficiency level. A study by Wan and Chen is an example of this approach, where teachers review and adjust generative AI-generated feedback. In this study, GPT 3.5 was iteratively trained to provide feedback on students' written tasks. Only 30% of AI-provided feedback statements needed significant moderation from instructor before being ready to be passed on to students. And I'm just laughing a little because I tried to use DeepSync to look up. I mentioned a minute ago, like the the part I was looking for yesterday, and because the part number is 69420, like the first thing well, not the first thing, but like the third thing it thought of was like, is this a fake number? Because like 69 and 420 are both joke numbers, so is this a joke number? And we're both like, no, this is actually the part number. We did not make this up. We wanted you to find this particular header part. Sometimes seeing how they think is hilarious. These hybrid approaches highlight the potential of human Gen AI collaboration to create a feedback process that is both efficient and enriched with human insights. By leveraging the strength of both humans and AI, this framework allows for a tailored, adaptive, and high-quality feedback that meets diverse educational and professional needs. Informed by Molinar's conceptualization of hybrid human AI systems, we argue that the following principles define effective hybrid intelligent feedback. So we have shared agency, complementarity, not quite sure that's a word, iterative refinement, dynamic adaptability, and enhanced personalization. So complementarity. Hybrid intelligent feedback systems should capitalize on the respective strengths of human and AI. Gen AI can provide timely feedback and offer data-driven insights for routine tasks, while humans can enrich feedback with contextual depth, creativity, and emotional sensitivity. This duality within hybrid feedback is crucial for complex educational contexts where adaptability and nuanced understanding are key. Iterative refinement. Hybrid intelligent feedback systems thrive on continuous improvement through iterative cycles. Gen AI output serves as an initial layer of feedback, refined further by human contributions. Conversely, human feedback can be enhanced by Gen AI-generated suggestions, creating a dynamic interplay that elevates feedback quality and relevance with each iteration. Have I mentioned how much I hate the use of the word elevates when it applies to anything other than elevators? Dynamic adaptability. Effective hybrid intelligent feedback systems should involve a dynamic adaptation process that tailors outputs to evolving needs of learners and context of the task. For instance, generative AI can assist teacher or peer feedback by prioritizing specific aspects of feedback, such as critical thinking or technical skills based on learner profiles. Enhanced personalization. By integrating Gen AI's scalability with human understanding or individual learner needs, hybrid intelligent feedback systems can offer tailored support even in large class settings. This personalized approach aligns with the growing emphasis on learner-centric pedagogies in modern education. Shared agency and feedback context. Shared agency means learners, teachers, and Gen AI tools collaboratively shape the feedback process, allowing learners to take ownership of their improvement. This involves influencing how feedback is designed, delivered, and utilized, rather than passively consuming outputs. For example, learners might decide the type of feedback they need, the delivery medium, written or chatbot, how they will act on it. In contrast, a non-shared agency scenario would involve Gen AI generating feedback independently, with learners passively receiving it without customizing or engaging with the process. So, where's that pedagogical framework we've been waiting almost half an hour for? Here it is! Pedagogical framework for hybrid intelligent feedback. So in this section, we present a pedagogical framework for hybrid intelligent feedback, and this framework illustrates a structured process for implementing a hybrid intelligent feedback approach, integrating both human and Gen AI contributions. Below is an elaboration of each stage in the process, and $20, this entire diagram is going to be written out below it, but we have determined the purpose, align it with the student stages, decide on the hybrid intelligent approach, generate it, evaluate it, and then stick in this loop if the evaluation keeps failing, and then implement it. And I believe all this little small stuff will be in these next few paragraphs. So clearly defining the purpose of the feedback is the first and essential step for effective hybrid intelligent feedback. This step focuses on selecting feedback, providing insights about current performance, feed forward, offering guidance on future improvements, and feed up, clarifying goals and expectations. Multiple aspects can be applied simultaneously to provide the learner with complete feedback, and or only one aspect can be prioritized based on contextual situation, or. Example, in a university writing course, a professor employs hybrid intelligent feedback to enhance students' academic writing. As a first step, the professor may choose to integrate all three feedback types, feedback, feed forward, feed up, to support the learning process. This decision may be based on the idea that high-quality feedback often requires a combination of these approaches. Align your feedback purpose with your student stages. In this step, the purpose is to make sure the feedback purposes align with the stages in which the students are or expected to be. In other words, feedback should be tailored to the learner's stage of development, focusing on where they are, where they're going, how to get there. This alignment ensures feedback is relevant and actionable for the students. For example, the professor justifies the use of a specific feedback type for each student by considering the student's proficiency levels. For weaker students struggling with an argument structure, all three feedback types, feedback, feed forward, feed up, may be emphasized to provide comprehensive support. In contrast, to more advanced students, professor might focus primarily on feedback, highlighting specific weaknesses for refinement. Decide on your hybrid intelligent approach. This step involves selecting a suitable feedback approach based on context and goals of the feedback process. The options include the three approaches for hybrid intelligent feedback: human-led feedback with Gen AI support, adaptive human Gen AI feedback, and Gen AI feedback with human enrichment. For example, in a writing course, a professor might choose a Gen AI-led feedback approach for two reasons. First, the large class size makes it difficult for the professor to provide feedback due to a high workload. Second, the feedback for the given class task primarily focuses on writing structure, which Gen AI can effectively analyze and assess. I feel like I'm saying feedback too many times. Generate the feedback. So when decisions have been made on the hybrid intelligent feedback approach, feedback purpose, and its alignment with the student stages, it is time to generate the feedback. As discussed above, the feedback generation process depends on selected hybrid intelligent approach. If it is a human-led feedback approach, then initially the human takes the role generating the feedback and using Gen AI to support said human-generated feedback. If it is Gen AI feedback, then the human agent should prompt with Gen AI to generate feedback and then add his or her input to enrich it. For example, a professor provides key prompts to the Gen AI system, guiding it to evaluate the writing task logical coherence, clarity, and language accuracy. Based on those instructions, the Gen AI generates a detailed feedback, identifying areas for improvement and offering targeted suggestions. And then you evaluate the feedback. Once the feedback is generated, it must be carefully evaluated to ensure its quality, relevance, and effectiveness. The evaluation of the feedback could be done both by Gen AI and human or in collaboration. There are three key dimensions for quality feedback that should be considered in evaluation: quality, timeliness, and personalization. Quality encompasses an effective aspect, maintaining appropriate emotional tone that motivates and encourages the learners; multiple cognitive aspects, ensuring accuracy, depth, and clarity; and a constructive aspect, providing actionable guidance for improvement. Timeliness involves delivering the feedback at the right moment to maximize its impact on learning and performance. Personalization focuses on tailoring the feedback to the learner's specific needs, goals, and context, make it relevant and meaningful. If the feedback meets these standards, it moves to the next stage for implementation, and if not, revisions are required to refine and enhance its quality. So, for example, a professor reviews and refines generative AI-generated feedback to ensure it aligns with students' needs. For instance, the professor observes that while the AI-generated feedback is accurate, it lacks nuanced suggestions for strengthening argumentation. They supplement it with additional comments. These refinements make the feedback more constructive, tailored to the student's proficiency level, and actionable for improvement. Then you got to implement that feedback. So when the feedback meets the standards, it is time to implement the feedback. This step involves delivering the feedback to students. So once the professor has reviewed and refined the Gen AI-led feedback, they can implement it by delivering it to students through the university's online learning platform. This process ensures a systematic and thoughtful approach to hybrid intelligent feedback, leveraging strengths of both humans and Gen AI while maintaining a focus on student-centered outcomes. Alright, gonna pause for more. Alright, only a couple more pages to go, so definitely not gonna be a whole hour, don't worry. Recommendations for future research on hybrid intelligent feedback. So pedagogical guidelines for set on hybrid intelligent feedback. So one significant direction for future research is developing pedagogical guidelines that teachers can follow and implementing Gen AI feedback in classrooms. Current literature highlights a disconnect between Gen AI's capabilities and its pedagogical application. In the context of hybrid intelligence, these guidelines should address how Gen AI can complement human feedback effectively by balancing Gen AI's speed and precision with human judgment and empathy. The establishment of guidelines will help teachers understand when and how to use Gen AI feedback effectively, particularly in ways that complement human feedback rather than replace it. Methodological advancements for hybrid intelligent feedback. So while existing Gen AI feedback systems can perform structured tasks, methodological research is required to enhance Gen AI's ability to provide high-quality, contextualized feedback, particularly in collaboration with human feedback. This will involve improving Gen AI's algorithms to better mimic the nuanced reflective processes inherent in human feedback. Hybrid intelligent systems could incorporate adaptive algorithms and align Gen AI-generated feedback with specific learner profiles, ensuring that feedback remains relevant and personalized. Exploring Gen AI, human Gen AI collaboration with feedback. In research in human Gen AI collaboration feedback is essential to fully harness the strengths of both Gen AI and human contributors. While we took initial steps to conceptualize and outline feedback in hybrid intelligence systems, more research is needed in this regard. Hybrid intelligence frameworks emphasize not only division of tasks, but also co-evolution of roles where humans and Gen AI dynamically adapt their contributions based on the complexity of feedback requirements. Investigating how hybrid intelligence can effectively integrate the analytical precision of Gen AI with the experiential and emotional insights of human feedback providers is crucial. We recommend attention to specific essential elements of feedback, quality, timeliness, and personalization. For example, complex forms of integration can make teacher feedback even less timely, rather than more timely, or less personalized, rather than more personalized. This research can lead to innovative integrated feedback practices that optimize unique capabilities of both human and Gen AI agents. And when it comes to like the basic college essay writing course that everyone is forced to take, at least in most places where I've worked, I can kind of see why having generative AI take like the leading evaluation would make more sense. Because especially in college, you get super frustrated. You like turn a paper and then it takes like the teacher 2 weeks to grade it because she has to grade like everyone's, and she's teaching like 3 sections, which is like 90 papers. Now multiply 90 papers by like 5 to 7 pages per paper, and it's a lot of reading, and you have to not get burnt out on it. So kudos to you teachers who can sit and read essays like that. But yeah, I could see why Gen AI first, and then you'd look at it and be like, okay, what else do I think about that? Yeah, English teachers especially do really close reading, so I could see using Gen AI to flag stuff, and then like, I strongly encourage people to still read the essays though. That would be my only worry, is being like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that person does that all the time. Good for you, Gen AI, and then never actually read essays. I don't know. I like reading human writing. I am still weird like that. Hybrid intelligent feedback literacy. To maximize benefits of hybrid intelligent feedback, future research should address the importance of such feedback literacy among students. Hybrid intelligent feedback literacy involves understanding how to interpret, question, and apply generative AI feedback effectively in collaboration with human feedback. Within hybrid intelligence, literacy extends to understanding the complementary nature of Gen AI and human feedback, empowering students to critically evaluate both sources and make informed decisions about their learning strategies. Studies can investigate interventions that train students to distinguish between feedback suitable for immediate implementation versus feedback requiring further validation by human instructors. This approach will empower students to engage with hybrid intelligent feedback critically, fostering autonomous learning and enhancing the feedback's overall educational value. And I could see some of this, like you could have like basic comments that the Gen AI spits out, and they could have some other ones where it's like, waiting for teacher approval. Because I don't want to call you a poor writer, but... Whereas I'm totally willing to call you out in all your comma places. I don't feel bad about that, says the Gen AI. Alright, down to the last page here. Don't you worry. A little over half an hour. Regulation of learning with hybrid intelligent feedback. So a promising research area involves exploring how hybrid intelligent feedback can support self-regulated learning. While teacher feedback often emphasizes this aspect, and peer and self-feedback are shown to enhance it, overly detailed Gen AI feedback risks undermining student self-regulation. A hybrid intelligent feedback approach can play a crucial role by blending Gen AI's precise recommendations with human feedback to encourage reflective and metacognitive engagement. Tailored Gen AI feedback can further promote metacognitive awareness, helping students set goals, monitor progress, and adjust strategies using data-driven insights. Beyond individual self-regulation, the broader question of how teachers should support students in a Gen AI integrated classroom arises. As Gen AI feedback tools become more common, teachers' roles must adapt to mediate between AI-generated insights and students' personalized learning needs. Research should explore strategies for teaching students to use Gen AI feedback responsibly, including recognizing potential errors, evaluating feedback quality, and learning from feedback rather than blindly implementing it. This aligns with the need to redefine teacher roles in hybrid intelligence systems to foster meaningful and effective learning. Good luck with that going forward into the 21st century. Alright, ethical considerations and trust in hybrid intelligent feedback. As hybrid intelligent feedback becomes more common, ethical concerns must be carefully addressed. Future research to explore transparency, accountability, and privacy in using feedback in hybrid intelligence systems. In addition, hybrid intelligence systems must incorporate explainable AI techniques that allow students and teachers to understand the rationale behind generative AI feedback, fostering trust and transparency. Research should examine methods to meaningfully earn trust in generative AI feedback, potentially by developing Gen AI feedback systems that allow students to ask follow-up questions or access explanations, thereby fostering a more transparent and interactive feedback process. So, this paper offers valuable insights to the concept of generative AI feedback by presenting a definition grounded in Hattie and Timperley's feedback framework and formative assessment theory. Give you that. Further explores the role of generative AI feedback, both as a standalone source and as hybrid intelligent feedback in collaboration with humans, aligning with Molinar's vision of hybrid intelligence, where human AI collaboration achieves outcomes beyond their individual capabilities. Yep. And then the paper introduces 3 primary approaches to hybrid intelligent feedback. Keep saying hyper. Yeah, because I want to be hyper. Human-led feedback with generative AI support, adaptive generative AI feedback, and Gen AI-led feedback with human enrichment. Each approach delineates distinct roles for humans in generative AI and generating feedback, emphasizing complementary strengths. Building on this, the paper proposes a pedagogical framework that outlines practical steps for implementing hybrid intelligent feedback in educational contexts. Not quite sure on that one. Because this is where I got kind of lost, and I'm just going to admit this here, like, how do you have a whole paper that's basically like, here are the 3 stages that you could use AI for in the middle to provide feedback between all human versus all AI? Like how is this a paper? But yeah, the pedagogical framework for educational context. All right, I'm gonna go back up. Maybe that's that like one tiny little diagram. They went over a little bit fast. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the pedagogical framework. So the feedback purpose, align it, decide on it, generate, evaluate, implement it. Yeah, I think I got distracted by saying the word feedback too many times. So yeah, this is your pedagogy. So feel free to comment on it, people who know pedagogy. But yeah, I was kind of sitting there going like, what pedagogy? Wait, what? Huh? Blinking you missed it, Dave. Got stuck on this whole, why is this a paper? Alright, outlines practical steps. Lastly, it offers recommendations for future research, highlighting key areas to further refine and expand the understanding of hybrid intelligent feedback. This paper represents an initial step, very much initial, towards the conceptualization of hybrid intelligent feedback in education, contributing to existing literature by advancing theoretical insights, proposing practical frameworks, and paving the way for innovative research and practice in the field. And to me, that framework that we just looked at again is not all that particularly enlightening, but I don't know much about pedagogy, like I said before, so give me your thoughts on this. This hybrid, well, I was going to say give me your thoughts on whether or not this should be an article in the first place, but if you've been tuning in this long, please give me your thoughts on where you think this should be. I kind of feel like this is similar to how we're approaching self-driving cars and exactly what level of automation we're okay with. What level of automation are you okay with in helping people teach you things? Or should we just, again, focus on human connection? You would think the pandemic would have taught us that, like, being human is kind of important, but what do I know? Anyway, we'll be back soon with other AI articles or interesting library science ones. And I also got to post a bunch of interesting random shorts from my phone. So if you joined us based on the shorts, there will be more shorts.